Hey, hi. I just watched the real time show and I am now worried about the adaptation of The Lord of the Rings made by Amazon. But before we can go any further and I began to explain why, I would like to address something. Some of you might be asking, why is this guy talking so slowly? Well, the reason is that English is not my first language. It's not even my second language. It's my third language. And it's a miracle that I can speak English at all. Now, the first three episodes of the Wheel of Time are okay and enjoyable. I was hooked and I will probably watch it until the end of the last season. It's not very good, but it's also not very bad. It's messy, but no, it's not messy. It's more clumsy because the writing is not very solid. Judging from someone who has not read the book, the showrunners have not fully conceptualized the things that they want to tell in the show. There are scenes that are disconnected from the rest of the plot at the moment, but they were still put there for some reason. Um, for example, the red Aes Sedai that appear in the cold opening of the first episode, they don't have much to do, and then they disappear, and then they reappear in the third episode, which is not very impressive from a storytelling standpoint. Why don't the showrunner, the writers, put them in the third episode so that they could tie the scene of Red Aes Sedai hunting a male magical channeler in the third episode to conclude the narrative statement that if the dragon reborn is a man, the stakes will be higher because they have new threats besides the White Cloaks and the Trollocs. Talking about Trollocs, the Dark One plot has not been very well established. We don't see the destruction caused by the Dark One. We don't know if he can destroy a city, a country, a continent, or the world. We don't know the stake, how high they are, and that's why we don't fully invest in the story. We just follow it out of the curiosity, but it doesn't have the actual impact on us. Um, the other things about the Dark One plot is that we don't fully aware of the existence of the Dark One's followers until episode 3, when the Dark One's expository fangirl explains everything to us. And that's the problem because in the first episode it hints that the merchant character that visits the hero's hometown is one of the followers, but his character is not properly used for the plot. Why don't they use him to establish more knowledge about the Dark One so that we can understand what is going on in the world of Wheel of Time? The thing that The Lord of the Rings and Star Wars did successfully is showing the epicness of the danger, and we are in awe of the battle. We then rooted for the heroes, since judging from the scope of the battles, in the opening scene, the heroes' missions would be very dramatic. Game of Thrones also established the clear storylines in the first episode so that the audience can have a brief concept in their heads and they can enjoy the show easier. There are other things too that don't cooperate with the main story, and I believe that would be crucial in the future. But that's the thing, the showrunners don't know when or where to put information from the book into the show to make the show easier to digest for non book readers. And I'm sure that they didn't mean to make the show appealing to only book readers. They want to expand the targeted audience and increase the views. Uh, Amazon's CEO Jeff Bezos said that he wants his Game of Thrones for his company to make him richer. And if the real time show can only draw attention of book readers, it's not going to create the cultural impact on the same level that Game of Thrones once did. And I asked, why is that? Why is the show just okay and something in between? Why doesn't it seem like another Game of Thrones that Mr. CEO is asking for? The real-time books are hard to adapt. Well, yes, but isn't the Lord of the Rings book really hard to adapt to? And it doesn't have character driven elements that real time has. No, I don't think the reason is that the books are hard to adapt. I think it's something else because the real time reminds me of The Hobbit. Back in the day, the Lord of the Rings, uh, when the Lord of the Rings was being made, adapting fantasy book was very risky, and there was no guarantee for success since fantasy was and probably is a very niche genre. Peter Jackson and his crew, however, wanted to take that risk, and they meticulously crafted the piece of work with their 200% effort because it had to be successful or their career would be doomed. And those efforts and passion showed in the final product, and everyone saw it. Later on, Warner Brothers was like, oh, this franchise was a guarantee for its success, and we needed the Hobbit adaptation. The same crew of The Lord of the Rings returned, but something changed. There was no magic in The Hobbit, no charm, no spirit, no soul, because the hearts of the people who made it were not fully there. They were ordered to mass produce these lucrative movies, and no one's life and career depended on the project. The Hobbit trilogy made lots of money, but it made no impact that its predecessors made. Like The Hobbit, The Wheel of Time was ordered to be made by a big company that really wants money, and I'm not suggesting that there is no love in The Wheel of Time, since as far as I know, the cast and the crew were very passionate about this project. However, they were not under the same pressure that the cast and the crew of The Lord of the Rings once were. They had big money behind their backs. The Wheel of Time doesn't only have to be successful. it can be something just okay, something enjoyable, something consumable. It might be too mean of me to judge the whole series out of 3 episodes, but that's my honest impression of the show. And it made me worried about The Lord of the Rings. It wouldn't be such a difficult feeling if the Lord of the Rings trilogy were another mass produced media. We know how it feels to see the book that we love being touched with the same amount of love that we have. And I couldn't help myself thinking that we could never experience something like that again, and it will remain only our memories. So I have a suggestion for Tolkien fans who are anticipating for the adaptation of The Lord of the Rings made by Amazon, that you drink a lot of water, get hydrated, and prepare yourself to cry like a waterfall.